All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
The Nothing Is Happening crowd is going to be very upset at today's show as we go through a litany of things that are in fact happening in live time. Also, there's another crowd. It's not just the Doomers and the Nothing Is Happening crowd that really kind of gets under my skin like a tick. Also, there's another crew of people out there that drives me freaking bananas. You know who it is? And you've seen them out there. It's largely left-wing media types, but we've seen even some people supposedly pretending to be on our side doing this too. Have you seen this new phenomenon where it's like Trump is just lucky about everything? That everything that happens pursuant to a decision Trump and his inner circle make. Have you guys seen this? It's just luck. It's an amazing amount of luck. You know, it's like flipping a coin and getting like 85% heads after 1,000 flips of the coin. You can reasonably assume, based on the laws of probability, that the coin is probably not a fair coin, correct? I don't want to be hyperbolic. Many of his big and bolder decisions he's made, whether on the economic front, whether they're on the foreign affairs front, whether on war and in-theater actions using our military, they work out, and everyone in the media just attributes it to just this blind luck. I just can't believe it. So I've got that today. I've got just explosive new information that's finally popped in the media about the impeachment hoax. And yes, the Nothing Is Happening crowd, again, is going to be very upset as they tell you nothing is happening and things continue to happen. It's just getting bizarre at this point, how you just continue to cling to this. Nothing is happening and Trump's just lucky. Sure, got it. Okay, winky, winky, nod, nod. Big show today, a lot of fire. Listen, you get a little older, something feels off. I know, I'm at that stage, crossing hopefully midlife in my 50s. You're not as sharp, your energy dips, recovery takes a little bit longer. I was just complaining about that this morning to Jasmine. Thankfully, I take care of myself. I try to and stay frosty. Sometimes you wake up, you're not firing on all cylinders. It's not in your head, it's often real. So I started looking into what people who care about performance are actually doing. Because if they're doing it and it's working, then I want to do it too. Because, I like to stay on top of my health. I'm obsessed with health hacks. I mean it. That's not some shtick I do for the show, man. These guys will tell you. And if you can give me a health hack and it works, I'll do it. This is why I found what many biohackers are using. They're using this compound to stay sharp. Have you heard about it? I'm talking about NAD. Supports your cellular energy. And again, I encourage you to look this stuff up. I use NAD myself. I'm kind of obsessed with it. So does Paula. I feel great. A lot of people are also using methylene blue for focus and clarity, and peptides like sermorelin and glutathione for recovery and overall wellness. What I like about All Family Pharmacy is that they don't make it complicated. They make it super easy. You just go online, fill out a quick medical form, and a licensed doctor reviews it, and if appropriate, writes the prescription. I just got mine the other day. Couldn't be happier. It ships right to your door. It's simple and straightforward. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a personal advocate for these items here. I use them myself. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bongino. Use the code Bongino30 to get 30% off until Sunday of 4/19. Prescription required. Always consult a medical professional before taking any medication. This is not medical advice. Ladies and gentlemen, give it a shot. Allfamilypharmacy.com/Bongino. The NAD, glutathione, big fan. Thank you, All Family Pharmacy, for sending it my way. We are very, very happy. All right, fellas, let's go. So, folks, one of the things about Donald Trump I mentioned the other day is there are a large swath of people out there completely unaccustomed to his authenticity. He just says what's on his mind. And the reason that's a shock is, as I've said often during my show, and I need you to process this, it's very important. The most interesting, sometimes damaging, but sometimes not, political narratives out there are narratives that change your pre-existing notion of who a person is or who a class of people are. Okay? So if the Republican Party were to come out tomorrow for, mass abortion and gun confiscation, you would be stunned because it would change your that's a dramatic example, but it would change your pre-existing notion of what the Republican Party stood for, correct? Those are really damaging political narratives. Politicians in general have a reputation for BS. I mean, movies have been made about it. Eddie Murphy made that movie, The Distinguished Gentleman, about running for Congress under some dead guy's name, and nobody even cares. Like, there's this reputation for politicians just lying and BSing everyone. That's what's so shocking about how in the era of AI and easy information where you can go get it, that the holier-than-thou Democrats, now you had Swalwell resign, you had, Tony Gonzalez on the other side resigned last night from Congress. This is going to get harder in the AI era because damaging political narratives that change your pre-existing notion of who these people are going to just flow out every single day. It is really important we see this. What's happening now is as Donald Trump makes decisions and these decisions work out, you're seeing a number of people switch to a different narrative because they don't want you to believe that Donald Trump, takes information from his advisors, synthesizes it into an output, and makes good political decisions because they want you to believe he's some dumb cretin real estate guy from New York who's just lucky. So the new narrative is it's all just luck. But I want you to listen to just a couple of clips here before I move on to what happened to Savannah Hernandez, which if you didn't see this video, is really troubling. But I want you to listen to this. Victor Davis Hanson is one of the most brilliant, intellectually sound, talking head commentators, I don't mean in a negative way, in the business. He is a sincere intellectual. He throws compliments around like manhole covers. He does not waste his time. This is a 30-second clip, no more. But him talking about how, I don't understand how you don't see how there's a plan here on what he's doing. Like this whole luck narrative that Donald Trump just keeps getting lucky is the coin that flips 85% of the time. You're not right. It's not luck at this point. There's something going on. Check this out.
Almost everything that he's doing that seems herky-jerky has an ultimate strategic purpose is to diminish the power of the Chinese and to turn Russia and China against each other and to have a cultural revolution, counter-revolution in the United States that makes our adversaries think that we are serious and dangerous, whether it's closing the border or having immigration reform or pressuring Mexico about fentanyl or recalibrating the Pentagon, you name it, and are economically more powerful. Instead, they just say, well, he tweeted this or his tariffs, but actually there is a plan and it's working.
Yes, it sure is.
And I'm going to go into some more detail because I do have a lot to cover today, especially this explosive new revelation where you're now seeing what happened with impeachment hoax too. Nothing's happening. Sure. There is a plan. I'm going to go into tomorrow in a little bit of detail an excellent tweet out there that shows on a map, very simply, all you have to do is see it one time with the red arrows, and you'll see what exactly the plan is, whether it relates to the Panama Canal, the Malacca Straits, the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea. You'll see the plan. It's clear as day. It's not luck. Here is Brit Hume for the data point people out there. Brit Hume, again, not some big, MAGA hat wearing guy, just kind of a down the middle commentator, been at Fox forever, journalist. He's not a cheerleader for anyone. Here's Brit Hume in another short clip last night saying, he basically cannot believe that there's still the data point people and others out there clinging to this notion that we attacked Iran for no reason, that they did not want nuclear weapons. He's like, how are you still clinging to this? The vice president went over there and said, we really have one big request. Just give up your nuclear material that could be used to create a weapon. And the Iranians flipped us the double-barreled middle finger and said no. Did you miss that? Does that data point matter? Andy, does it matter? That's like a big data point, is it not? They don't want a nuclear weapon. Then just give it up. And you could stay alive. They'd rather die. Don't listen to me. Listen to Brit Hume again. He's not a big MAGA cheerleader. Check this out.
Here Iran is badly battered, militarily crushed. They really don't have any cards here, other than the Strait of Hormuz, which we're acting on now. And they come into this negotiation absolutely refusing to give up their nuclear weapon ambitions, which was the bottom line for the president and his negotiators. If that doesn't emphasize that President Trump was correct in assessing in the beginning of this, that Iran was still going for a nuclear weapon and it was something the world could not afford, then I don't know what could.
how, in the name of all that's holy, are you still sticking to this story, the data point people, that the Iranians don't want a nuclear weapon? How are you doing that? Well, I don't understand. Like, do you not believe in evidence? You can look this up. You can do the same homework I do. You can look this stuff up. That is going to be a theme of today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, with the power of the interwebs, AI, Google Gemini, Grok, ChatGPT, and all of it, you can actually look this stuff up, Trump haters. This is not hard. I'm glad to do a lot of homework for you. It's my job. I love my job. I've always loved my job. Love my last job. Love the job before that. I love my job. But this is not hard, folks. The Iranians don't want a nuclear weapon. We attacked them for no reason. Well, the vice president went over there and just asked really a simple thing. Can you give up your nuclear material? They were like, nah, kill us instead. That sounds like a data point to me.
It's a data point.
It's a data point, right? With actual data. This is not hidden knowledge, folks. I don't play the hidden knowledge. I know something, but I can't tell you. No, I'll tell you. Brit Hume is 100% correct. It is now public knowledge that they refuse to give up their nuclear material and would rather die, which sounds like to me they want nuclear material. Here is, by the way, the best explanation I've heard. And then I got to move on. I got to show you this Savannah Hernandez video. You may have seen it, getting attacked. She's a wonderful young woman. We had her on our show, I believe, on election night. And she's just a great field reporter. I've said her name multiple times. Does a lot of good, solid journalism for Turning Point. She was attacked. I'm going to tell you, outside of the tragedy of the situation, why this matters and why you need to be careful. But I want you to listen to this. I can't let you go without this. I listened to this yesterday. It's about a minute. This is one of the best explanations on Fox as to why the Iranians pulling this last card out of the deck. We're going to mine the strait. We're going to blow everyone up. Why even this game is probably not going to work out. How our technology to clear these mines is just better than it. It's about a minute, but this is one of those, you got to hear this kind of moments. Check this out.
Now, there are reports, but it's all kind of what we say rumors, indications, and warnings that there might be about a dozen or so moored mines, right? There's many different types of mines out there. Moored mines are ones that are suspended by a cable that's resting on an anchor on the seabed floor that's floating at or usually just below the waterline. They can be contact mines, which is where basically the ship runs into one of the horns, like the traditional horns you see on what you think of a mine would look like. But they also could be influence mines, and that is when a ship cruises right above it and it has a metal detector, a magnetometer that detects something metal that's very close to it, and then it detonates. So, and also on top of that, influence mines can be very sophisticated, where they can put a ship counter on that, where basically it'll wait until 5, 6, 7, a dozen or more ships go past it before it would detonate, which is why sweeping is something that is good and is helpful, but what's best is hunting. We always say, hunt if you can, sweep if you must.
That's just a fantastic explanation using diagrams on Fox. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, check it out on Rumble as to how this works and why the Iranians, this is it. They really they have no chit left to play. They just don't. And they will not give this stuff up because their only goal is a nuclear weapon, because their only other goal is death to America. This is not a hard argument to make, folks. They're not hiding it. There are people on the other side who just hate Donald Trump, want you to believe it's all luck, who are lying to you about it. By the way, can I ask a favor of the audience? First, thank you to everyone who serves in our military, man. You got some pair on you, man. I can't say that with enough, just respect for what you guys and ladies out there do. I mean, imagine being a minesweeper. They're a minesweeper. Like, hey, you could hit one of those. That's part of the business. Listen, I never went to work, even in the last job, even though I had a lot of threats and stuff. But I never went to work every day thinking like I'm going to die. These guys go to work every day thinking, oh my gosh, like I get exploded by a mine. But I need a favor from you. I've been doing a ton of homework on World War II, and my grandfather, who I adore, God rest his soul, served there honorably. And I finally got a hold of some of his paperwork. Does anyone out there know anything about the 3938th Quartermaster Company that served? They came on board in Normandy, served in the Rhineland and Central Europe. Because as I told you, my grandfather Frank, last name, obviously, who I loved, and God rest his soul, he never talked about it. And I was chatting with my dad last night. Never. You weren't allowed to ask him at all. He used to wake up at night with nightmares, and no one ever said anything. I know nothing about it. He wouldn't talk about it. I asked him 100 times. He was very, I think, traumatized by it. And I think it's because they were delivering fuel to the front lines on no sleep at night with the Germans targeting them. They couldn't put the lights on or anything like that. So if anyone knows anything about that, I would love to hear from you. Just throwing that out there. Crowdsourcing. I love you guys. And thank you again to everyone who serves in our military. You are the best of the best. And that point is not in dispute at all. And I would hope even the Democrats in the chat agree with that. We sit here in freedom and luxury because of your sacrifice. Folks, I've been warning you about the left for a long time. I'm going to show you this Savannah Hernandez video. She is a investigative reporter for Turning Point USA. She's been doing this for a long time. She's done some excellent reporting on the border. Savannah was out there reporting on one of these anti-ICE protests, and she was pretty brutally attacked by the way, some savage animal who was like 3-4 times her body weight. Just unbelievable savagery and just pure evil. This, although political violence is not exclusive to the left, it dominates on the left. And there is a reason it dominates on the left. The left is living in a world of lies. I can't say this enough. And I don't mean this as a flowery kind of Robert Frost poem. I mean it because it's true. When you live in a world of lies, it's really tough to have to get up in the morning and know that everything you believe in is bullshit. There are smart Democrats out there who know, for example, like the Russia collusion hoax and the impeachment hoax aren't real. But because they've bedrocked their entire personality on telling people and arguing this with their friends, they can't ever go back and say, I'm a liar, I've screwed this up. They can't do that. So they get angry and they lash out. It's this like extinction burst of behavior. You're going to see more of this. And I'm just telling you out there, if you're not out there with security, be really careful because these people are unbelievably violent. And as we've seen with Charlie, with Steve Scalise and elsewhere, they will lash out and not a single soul on the left, any prominent figure is going to call this stuff out. Check this video out.
My daughter? No! Stop touching me! You fucking touched me!
Folks, I'm not kidding. Listen to Brother Dan here for a minute. I'm not messing with you. These people are really violent. I've been in this business a long, long time. Been doing political commentary for over 15 years. The show is over 10 years old. These people are really violent. They are violent because their entire life is a lie. It's hard for them to accept it. So they have to it's like, we'll call it like the beach ball theory of political ideology. When your entire life is bedrocked in bullshit, you have to keep the bullshit underneath the waterline. So you push the beach ball down, which takes a lot of energy. Eventually, you just don't have the energy anymore to suppress it, so it has to go somewhere. So it explodes into violence on the left. That's why you don't see this. You do see isolated incidents of political violence of people who claim to be on the right. We don't claim them. We don't want you. We absolutely, resolutely disavow any political violence whatsoever. Absolute full stop. Underline it. Put it in all caps. You notice, yes, there'll be political figures because of political consequences who may have to call this stuff out. But you notice, prominent left-wing activists, there's not some big organized effort by Antifa or BLM to say, hey, man, that's a bridge too far. But Savannah Hernandez is probably 100 pounds soaking wet, if that. She gets bowled over by a bunch of animals at this site. And notice there's like no coordinated outcry on the left. Folks, they need this street violence. They need a ventilation point. They need the street thugs to keep their people in line. It's the only thing they have when your entire life is a lie. They don't have any abiding principles. I'm going to prove it to you. Here's a Kalshi market poll here. They tell you they hate billionaires, correct? Tell me you haven't heard this. If you're a lefty listening, please stop BSing people. Tell me you haven't heard about how evil and awful billionaires are. We should confiscate their money. They're so terrible. The billionaires, a millionaire. Bernie Sanders ranting and raving, even though he's a millionaire himself. Well, now that Swalwell has resigned from Congress and has exited the California governor's race, look who Kalshi is, the prediction market says has the best chance. Yes, a billionaire, Tom Steyer, on the left. I have nothing against billionaires. I don't like or dislike Tom Steyer. He's a lefty. I dislike his ideology. But do you understand how these people, we really can't stand these successful billionaires. We should confiscate their wealth. They're a parasitic leech on society. But we should elect them to the biggest state in the union and the most prominent Democrat powerhouse state in the union. How do you reconcile this? The answer is you don't. You just get angry, you push the beach ball underwater, and then you just beat the shit out of people at rallies when the beach ball pops up to get rid of your energy. This is why you're never going to call this stuff out. They need the street thugs. By the way, here's a video that's been going viral again. It's an older one of Tom Steyer. I'm sorry, but I needed a little bit of a release valve myself. This is kind of hilarious. This is cringe AF, if you know what that means. I don't know what he's doing. And as Andy and Justin pointed out, is that his wife there on his right? Like, what is going on there? She is having a grand old time. Okay, this is your potential next governor of California. Folks, this is what it looks like as well. Cue up that Tom Friedman video. Friedman's a reporter out there. He was on MSNOW. I want you to listen to this clip was it CNN? CNN. I want you to listen to this clip very carefully here. This goes to show you the rage they contain inside. The only reason a lot of these people aren't more violent is because they don't have the capacity to do it. They're older. They've never been in a fight in their lives. These people are so angry that the ones that can and will fight will do it, just like the group who attacked Savannah Hernandez. The other ones are just like, osteoarthritic bone bags who can't fight and won't, just because they're limited. But I want you to listen to the anger of this. Friedman's on this little interview panel here, and he's talking about how they would rather have the Iranians win the death to America, we want a nuclear bomb crowd, because they don't want to give a political victory to Trump and Bibi Netanyahu. You're like, no way they said that. No, yes way they said that. They actually said it on video. Check this out.
The problem is, I really don't want to see Bibi Netanyahu or Donald Trump politically strengthened by this war, because they are two awful human beings. They're both engaged in anti-democratic projects in their own countries. They're both alleged crooks. They are terrible, terrible people doing terrible things to America's standing in the world and Israel's standing in the world. And so I really find myself torn. I want to see Iran militarily defeated, but I do not want to see these two terrible people strengthened.
Folks, do you hear the anger in these guys and their voices? They would yell louder if they had the vocal cords to do it. They would rather us lose to a terrorist regime that openly tells us they want to kill us by building a nuclear explosive device and are advancing ballistic missile technology to deliver said device to a major American city. They would rather their own kids, grandkids, neighbors, and friends be wiped out by hundreds of thousands of degrees of nuclear fireball and turn to ash rather than give Trump and Netanyahu what they perceive as a victory. Do you understand now how angry you have to be to do this? This is why you see this ventilation and violence directed at Savannah and others. How else? Imagine living your life like this. Folks, I'm going to tell you, man, I've been through a lot over the past couple of years. I'm a happy warrior, man. I am. I love my life. Love the guys here, work here, my family, Lucy the dog. I'm I'm just a happy warrior, man. I'm lucky to live in the United States, be blessed by God. These people they'd rather us die in a nuclear holocaust. And they're angrier too, because as they change their position over and over, Iran was a threat when Obama was in office, so much so he gave them $1.7 billion to perceive to be not, right? They were like, man, they're such a threat. We better give them a couple $1 billion to have them not build a nuclear device and give them pallets of cash. And then Trump gets in office. Iran's not a threat. They're not going to bomb us. Matter of fact, we should hope they win so that Trump and Netanyahu don't get a victory. What makes them angrier is that while their positions constantly change because they lick their finger and see where the wind's going, where's the wind going? They're like I used to throw the grass up in the outfield when I played Little League. You see where the wind's blowing? That's the left. That's what they do. What makes them even angrier is there's a contrast here that Trump has been completely consistent on this the whole time, so they can't call him a phony like they are because it doesn't work because we just keep pulling videos. This is really short. It's only about 15 seconds, but here's Donald Trump yet again. What is this, guys? Like the 20th video we pulled on Donald Trump talking about Iran. This is in 2011. We've been as back as far, we played the 80s, the 90s. We played the aughts. We've played 2016. We've played probably anywhere from 10 to 20 videos of Trump over 30 years, 40 years, saying the exact same thing in Iran, and it drives the left crazy. Here, check this out.
In other countries where it looked like it was an impossibility, and it looks like that one's going to collapse also. So Iran can be taken. I would never take the military card off the table. And it's possible that it'll have to be used because Iran cannot have nuclear weapons.
No, Justin just said it right. He even uses the same words over the course of decades. This is why let's compare two different crowds. You got the doomers. I didn't vote for that. I'm sorry you didn't do your homework. It's not my fault. It's not my fault you didn't do a basic level of homework on the multitude of Donald Trump's statements of, if this really concerned you so much. In other words, you are a Johnny-come-lately MAGA supporter, and the Iran issue concerned you so much, you could have done this really difficult thing, right, fellas? Gone to like the interwebs and put Trump on Iran and like 100 different clips of Trump talking about Iran, saying the exact same thing would have come up. You didn't do that. That's not my fault. It's not my fault. And to the left wing that said, well, Iran was a threat under Obama, so much so we had to pay him off. But now under Trump, it's definitely not a threat. I know it bothers you that Trump's been consistent while you're full of shit. I understand that bothers you, and you have to rage out and beat the hell out of 100-pound or less women at an anti-ICE protest where they're just covering it, doing this thing called journalism you swear you respect. It just bothers them that they're frauds. It drives them crazy. I'm going to take a quick break, and I want to show you what peak fraud looks like. This has become the modern Democrat Party. I want to hat tip in advance. Erin Molan, Molan, has a show out there. Does some really good work. Just re-up this compilation of the biggest fraud in politics you have ever seen. And this is why they're so angry all the time. These are their heroes and their icons on the other side. And then I've got to get to just explosive reporting about an ongoing, now publicly reported investigation that the nothing is happening crowd is telling you isn't happening when it's happening, which is really super freaking annoying. It's just black pill stuff. This stuff came out yesterday. Vindication for a number of reporters out there, Sean Davis and others. Huge vindication. Hey, let's be honest. The cost of living isn't just high. It's exhausting sometimes. If you've been leaning on credit cards lately just to cover the basics like groceries, gas, and utility bills, you're essentially paying a survival tax of 20% interest or more. Don't do that. Preserve your wallet. Preserve your capital. Get your wallet fatter, not thinner. My friends at American Financing have a better way. They've been with me a long time. They're helping homeowners like you tap into their equity to pay off high-interest debt with mortgage rates currently in the 5s. You can't beat that. On average, American Financing is saving their customers $800 a month. That's nearly $10,000 a year back in your wallet, back in your pocket, doing what you needed to do. It takes just 10 minutes to find out what you can save. It's really easy. There's no upfront fees and no obligation to talk to a salary-based mortgage consultant. Here's the kicker. Start today, and you can even delay 2 mortgage payments. Can't beat that. Call American Financing today. They're America's home for home loans. Here's the number. Write this down. It's 888-994-7660. That's 888-994-7660. Or you can visit them online. It's a .net address, not a .com. It's americanfinancing.net/Bongino. That's americanfinancing.net/Bongino. Give them a shot. Save yourself some money. americanfinancing.net/Bongino. Thank you, American Financing. And for your viewing pleasure, before we move on to some extremely serious stuff, this is Erin Milan talking about the biggest fraud in politics, as if you needed a reminder. And the only reason I bring you back the cackler, Kamala Harris, the only reason is not to relive the horror, but she may run in 2028. So it's not yesterday's news. It's today and tomorrow's news, too. Check this out.
I grew up understanding the children of the community are the children of the community. You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context. I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times. It is, and talking about the significance of the passage of time. Right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right?
You can see what is possible, unburdened by what has been. We have dreams. We can see what is possible, unburdened by what has been.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know?
Who said it? Who said it in the chat? E.A. Stroud, please stop. Please stop. We got Mutleys left and right. I'm sorry, folks. I can't. I have an obligation to remind the viewing public that this is a very real presidential election cycle starting right now. What do you mean? We're not even past the midterms. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is our job to show you the contrast. Donald Trump consistently saying the same thing, consistently racking up W's, consistently producing incredible numbers at the border on crime overseas. We got the Iranian mullahs deposed and dead. We got Maduro in a prison. Inflation cooling, not all the way there yet. Good, solid GDP growth. We've had a quarter at about 4%. This is the record we need to talk about. Now, this happened yesterday, and this is... I hate the bombshell and all that stuff, or, whatever. But this is a story I have been involved in professionally and personally for a very, very long time. Folks, if you remember, give you a little bit of background. If you remember the impeachment hoax, it came down to this when they impeached Donald Trump the first time. The hoax was this. Donald Trump is on a phone call with Zelensky at the time. He understands that there's some issues over there with how the Hunter Biden situation was dealt with, and he addresses, as he should, as the chief executive, some problems in that what happened. He also addresses some other issues with their military and some other equipment that was going over there. A perfectly normal and standard phone call, which Donald Trump, as the chief executive of the United States, should be involved in. Within weeks, a magic whistleblower report comes out to the intelligence community IG saying how Donald Trump engaged in some illicit quid pro quo. Now, the transcript gets out of the call. Do you guys remember this? And it turns out that there's no quid pro quo at all. That Donald Trump is asking questions the chief executive of any company, no less a country as powerful as the United States, should be asking. This thing explodes. Now, all of a sudden, information's been declassified, and evidence is now piling up that a number of conservative outlets that reported on this whistleblower complaint were right the whole time. I want to play Rachel Maddow first, and I want to make my point about, and tie it back to Savannah Hernandez, how everything the left has told you on any issue of prominence, I'll get to a couple more of these in a minute, whether it's the economy, taxes, healthcare, everything they're telling you is bullshit. You can actually look it up. They're living this lie. They're putting a beach ball down. This is why they're so violent. They got to get up in the morning being angry at themselves because everything they're telling you, they're telling themselves is a lie and they know it. Here are some receipts. Now, Rachel Maddow, I've used her example over and over for the Doomer class, where you can only lie to people for so long before they catch on. She used to have sky-high ratings. Her ratings are not terrible now, but they're nowhere near where they were because people get tired of being lied to all the time. Here is Maddow about the whistleblower complaint that apparently had a lot of problems. Maddow didn't say Maddow was all over this. She was like vouching for that. This is fantastic. Check this out.
Thank you, whistleblower. I consider your complaint to be credible and urgent. If what you said happened actually happened, A, this is freaking illegal, and B, it's a counterintelligence threat to the country.
Angel Christine Patriot, you just nailed it in the chat, says we couldn't even tweet Chia Morella's name on Twitter back then. We had an episode pulled down from a major podcast platform because we weren't going to play that game. Oh, yeah. My book, Follow the Money, is all about this. Like the first 5 chapters go through this in detail. The intricate network of people. Here was Jim Clapper, high-level intelligence official in the Obama regime. Here was Jim Clapper saying on a liberal network, oh my gosh, I've never seen such an incredible whistleblower complaint, so detailed, almost perfect, as if they like heard it themselves. Really? Did they? Check this out.
Your thoughts about the whistleblower complaint, which was unclassified and released today.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd seen a lot of whistleblower complaints during the time I was DNI, and this had to be the best composed, best written, best documented such complaint I've ever seen. Obviously done by a seasoned, mature, capable intelligence professional, written like an intelligence document, and it's very clear. He points out what he knows and what he doesn't know, he or she, whoever it is. So I thought it was very compelling.
Hat tip to great Maze Moore again on X for all these wonderful clips. What a great account. He's really great at piling on all the evidence here. This is called actual evidence. You have liberal media commentators. You may say, oh, who cares about Maddow? She didn't know anything. All right, fine. Clapper did know stuff. Clapper knew a lot of stuff. Clapper's out there telling you, it's so meticulous. As Justin pointed out, the whistleblower appears like a mature intelligence professional. You could say mature, but he thinks he's sounding more elegant. Like Obama when you say, Pakistan! You can call it Pakistan. That's okay. Really? Here was Alexander Vindman, and I'll choose, no titles for him. Sorry. Nope. Here's Alexander Vindman up on the Hill. Remember, he was a key player in this entire whistleblower complaint. Trump gave a quid pro quo to the Ukrainians. And then we read the transcript. We're like, where exactly did that happen? Here's Vindman like, hey, man, I got a lot to say about this whistleblower complaint, but you better use the right title first. Check this out.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, you testified in the deposition that you did not know who the whistleblower was or is?
I do not know who the whistleblower is. That is
So how is it possible for you to name these people and then out the whistleblower?
Per the advice of my counsel, I've been advised not to answer specific questions about members of the intelligence community.
Are you aware that this is the Intelligence Committee that's conducting an impeachment hearing?
Of course I am.
Wouldn't the appropriate place for you to come to testify would be the Intelligence Committee about someone within the intelligence community?
Ranking member, per the advice of my counsel and the instructions from the chairman, I've been advised not to provide any specifics on who I've spoken to inside the intelligence community.
It's really fascinating, folks. We have a whole library of episodes on this, books on this, well-researched and footnoted. You could read the footnotes yourself. We used a lot of left-wing sources, and I wrote this book, Follow the Money, about this. I get it from the library. I'm not trying to sell you a book. I mean, if I really don't care, borrow it, whatever. Give it to your friend. Read the footnotes. We use mostly left-wing sources. Why would you do that? Because I knew later on the left wing, when the story changed, would try to retract a lot of their articles, but they'd have or if they didn't retract it, they'd have nowhere to go because they couldn't say we were lying because we were citing them. It's kind of weird. Don't you find it interesting that if this whistleblower they're talking about had such powerful and damning information about Donald Trump's call with Zelensky being a quid pro quo, why is everybody so eager to hide who it is? Well, now it's public. I'm just telling you what's out there in the public space. Here's some John Solomon reporting at Just the News that it appears that the whistleblower complaint, based on some recently declassified information thanks to the Trump administration, John Solomon and Jerry Dunleavy, that the whistleblower's complaint may not have met the guidelines that if you're going to blow the whistle, then you have to have seen the stuff to blow the whistle yourself. Justin seems kind of fair, right? Justin's like, I'm blowing the whistle. Dan showed up 10 minutes late today. Did you see it? No, Jasmine told me. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. I didn't show up 10 minutes late, by the way. She's lying. But we could have interdicted that right away if we made it that the whistleblower had to have seen stuff themselves to blow the whistle on. So John Solomon notes, impeachment bombshell, secret memos expose Ukraine accusers' bias, hearsay, and false claim. I need to read this to you. Investigators for the IC Inspector General documented several concerns about the whistleblower's political motives, noting he admitted, this sounds kind of important, right, guys, that he was a registered Democrat, the, quote, whistleblower. Justin, sounds important, right? You're like, well, okay, he was a Democrat, no big deal. Oh, it goes on. It goes on. A registered Democrat who had worked closely with Joe Biden on Ukraine issue. What? And who disliked some of the conservative figures in the president's orbit. The memos show. Wow. That sounds like motive. It goes on. The investigators also elicited an apology from the Trump accuser for misleading the probe and were acutely aware that his allegations were based solely on second and third hand accounts about what Trump was alleged to have said on the call and done. So before we go to the next screenshot here, just to be clear, fellas, if I'm missing anything, please hit me over the head with a pot and pan. The accuser says, hey, I'm a registered Democrat. I work closely with Joe Biden on Ukraine issues when he was the VP, and I really don't like the conservative figures in the president's orbit. And then he apologizes for misleading the probe and says, I didn't even see it. I just heard about it second and third hand. That second and third hand thing is going to be important in a moment. So you didn't actually see anything or hear anything yourself to blow the whistle on. It gets worse. Quote, here is a quote from the alleged whistleblower. I do not have direct knowledge of private comments or communications by the president. You don't? That sounds like an important nugget of information. The whistleblower who claimed Trump improperly tried to pressure Zelensky to investigate Hunter Biden, admitted in his initial August 29 intake form. Why are you hearing about this now? Because the Trump administration has been working feverishly over the last year with its IC partners to declassify these items. And it has to happen slow because there's material in there that affects other people as well, not implicated in this. That's the only way I can explain it to you. Why didn't this happen right away? Because it takes a while. It's not just one entity that has, we'll call equities in these things, folks. That's why it takes a while. You think the Trump administration and the president himself doesn't have an interest in declassifying information you need? His national constituents on what happened here? Of course they do. Now, why is that second and third hand tidbit there important? That the alleged whistleblower didn't even hear the conversation, see it, but heard about it second and third hand. Because the requirements to file one of these whistleblower complaints was that you had firsthand knowledge. The great Sean Davis from The Federalist reported on this early on, and this is absolute vindication from Sean Davis. Absolute vindication. He's a great reporter, a good friend, been on the show a lot. Put up his first tweet. So Sean reported on this right away. He's at Sean, SEANMDAV. You should follow him and look this up yourself. You can read the whole thing. He notes that in 2019, during peak whistleblower hysteria, he reported that the IG secretly gutted internal whistleblower rules requiring, listen to this, requiring firsthand evidence of wrongdoing. But the alleged whistleblower said he didn't have firsthand information. It was second and third. Oh, so they just changed the rules and backdated it. He notes, I had all the whistleblower forms, the revisions and dates for all of it, and I conclusively proved all of it. All hell broke loose after Sean published his report, with deep state assets and their media lickspittles accusing Sean of lying, of fabrication, and of botching the facts. Sean notes, I was 100% right, and they all knew it. How do we know that? How do we know this? Because the IG himself, Inspector General, admitted under oath in testimony for Congress. And his staff lied about it for years, knowing it was proof of the conspiracy and it would be hidden with his classified testimony. For 7 years, he notes, I waited for the transcript to be released. Today, that finally happened. And the testimony fully vindicates my original reporting and fully discredits everyone who falsely claimed it was inaccurate. Here's what he secretly admitted under oath. This is the IG. When it came to my attention from one of the media inquiries that we had a form that required individuals to have firsthand knowledge before they can file a complaint, I did two things, he notes. I said, first, is that what the form says? Then the second thing, I said, yeah, that's what our form says. Well, we need to change that, Atkinson testified. Knowing, I guess, the timing was unfortunate, he even noted that, says it looks suspicious. That's because it is. The IG gutted its own rules, eliminated its requirement of firsthand whistleblower knowledge, and did so because the anti-Trump complaint fraudulently backdated its changes and did it all in secret, exactly as he reported in 2019, and he's got the screenshots to prove it. Now, I'll be expecting today, if you have even a shred of dignity, a full apology, not to me. We covered this at the time, of course. You can go back and look and watch the show yourself because Sean's a friend and an excellent reporter and a good man. But I'll be expecting a full apology from Mediaite, which is a left-wing hack site full of goons. Why would I be expecting that? If they have any dignity at all, they should apologize to Sean, Aidan McLaughlin specifically, because as Sean puts in a follow-up tweet, when all the media people attacked him for his accurate reporting, he says, yeah, you're damn right he's quadrupling down because now he's right. Look at some of the headlines from Mediaite attacking Sean for telling the truth about how the IG, the Inspector General, essentially internal affairs for the Intelligence Committee, changed the rules to allow a fake report on Donald Trump. Here's Aidan McLaughlin, who should be embarrassed and horrified today, but he's not. He's not. Because they don't care. I told you that. They lick their finger and see where the winds are going, and they know Mediaite's a left-wing goon site. Aidan McLaughlin, the Federalist doubles down on thoroughly debunked whistleblower bombshell. That is so hilariously stupid. Aiden, again, if he apologizes, can you just send it to us? I'll put it up on the show. I will. I'm serious. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. If you apologize to Sean, just let us know. Like email Justin. What are you on X?
At Justin Belial _.
Find Justin on X and just send it to him. I would love to see an apology. Now, I know, again, there's a group of people, again, with no knowledge of what's happening on the inside at all. By the way, there's the testimony, in case you doubt any of this, the sworn under oath testimony. You can look at it yourself. I know there's a bunch of people on our side that constantly want to tell you Trump's not doing anything, the border numbers don't matter, the crime numbers don't matter, the public corruption arrests don't matter. I know, I get it. I flip them all the double-barrel middle finger every single day because I know they're doing a lot of things about it. Now you're starting to see how this fruit will be born here. It's kind of important that we get this stuff out. Here was a clip of John Ratcliffe about this, CIA director, of course, as you well know, on Maria Bartiromo's excellent show not that long ago, talking about the larger conspiracy in this case. Check this out.
So what I think I hear you saying is there is still an opportunity for indictments, potential prosecutions, accountability from those people who may have lied under oath, like John Brennan, James Comey, and perhaps Hillary Clinton.
Well, that's why I've made the referrals that I have. DNI Gabbard has made referrals. Yeah. And why we're going to continue to share the intelligence that would support the ability of our Department of Justice to make bring fair and just claims against those who have perpetrated this hoax against the American people and this stain on our country.
Unlike the left, by the way, like Aidan McLaughlin and others who jump to conclusions all the time and then wind up with a dozen eggs on their face, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to prejudge anything. I'm going to let the process play out because the process does matter. Ladies and gentlemen, justice is meant to move slowly. Justice that moves quickly is typically justice denied. But the nothing is happening crowd is ignoring everything that's happening. Why? Because they want to depress turnout. Because their sole goal, as you've seen people show their ass over the last few months, is to take down Donald Trump and humiliate him in the midterms. That's it. They are not, it's not infighting. They're not in our tent. It's outfighting. You should treat them no differently than you would the liberal media. It gets really frustrating, especially when I see all of the efforts of these people who have given up a good portion of their lives to go into government service to get you the truth, being endlessly attacked by people who claim they're in our tent. And then when the stuff happens, they say it didn't happen. I swear to you, they just move on to the next thing. Folks, they're no different than the left, okay? And I've said to you over and over again, and I hammered it home yesterday on the show because it's important. The truth is an investment. It is an investment. It takes time. If you're not willing to let the compounding interest of truth compound and earn you more truth capital, then we can't be friends. You want instant gratification. You want to take your money and go spend it and consume it because you wanted a beer or a bag of chips. You don't want to invest in the truth. You will be bankrupt because you will lie to yourself for instant gratification. The left does that. In this AI era, this is going to get really expensive. I know, Bill O'Reilly and I are probably the best of friends, but that's okay. Listen, Bill said, I thought some pretty fair things about me when I was on the inside. He's hit me on some other side. It's okay. I'm a public figure. I'm open to it. But he had a pretty good segment on the Bill Maher show last week where he said something so transparently obvious that it would have taken 5 seconds or less for them to look it up. But I want you to watch the left-wingers on the panel sit there and be stunned by the truth. Because again, they live in this beach ball underwater, bankrupt sea of lies. They cannot accept the obvious as being true. I'll show you what I mean coming up in a second. Last break, and I got a lot more material for you. Folks, with AI, this stuff is going to get really easy. I can't say it enough. All right, quick break here to talk about something I started using, Rumble Wallet. If you've ever been curious about buying and investing in crypto, Bitcoin, stable coins, or USAT, but felt like it was too complicated, it isn't. Rumble Wallet is an easy way to get started. It is really easy. You can buy, sell, and manage your cryptocurrencies all in one convenient place. It is so straightforward and easy. What makes Rumble Wallet unique is that you can use it to support the Freedom First community we built here on Rumble. And we got the proof to back it up. Download the Rumble Wallet app today in whatever app store you have. Sign up with your existing Rumble account, complete a few security steps, and you're set up in minutes just like that. You can start with just a few dollars. And with MoonPay built into the Rumble Wallet, you can easily buy crypto using your credit card, debit card, or bank wire. It's really easy. If you've been thinking about the advantages of crypto, download the Rumble Wallet app today. I have one. Paula has one. It's fantastic. It's super easy to use. Click the link in the description or search Rumble Wallet in your app store. Download Rumble Wallet today and move your assets to where they belong, in your hands, under your control. That's important. Don't get into this like cancel culture. Secure your financial future. Rumble Wallet is a technology provider only and not a custodial service. See terms at wallet.rumble.com, wallet.rumble.com. Thank you, Rumble Wallet. Okay, I want to show you this segment. You want to see where their anger comes from? They tell you, liberals that is, so we're talking about the right set of people because precision matters in language. The left tells you that if you forfeit your money and your freedom to this collectivist empire and big government, we will spend your money on people better than you. Public schools, with social welfare system. The problem the left is having right now is people are evacuating their cities and states in droves, and it's getting harder and harder to hide. O'Reilly brings up this point on the Bill Maher show, and the congressman next to him seems genuinely confused about this, despite the fact it could have taken them all of 5 seconds to fact check what he was saying. Check this out.
We'll see if they move. I mean, you saw Bill.
They're going to move.
Well, look,
they're already moving.
Hold on, Bill Ackman threatened.
No, they're not.
Hold on.
People say they're going to move all the time after elections.
Listen,
they don't do it.
Bill Ackman said he was going to move.
You know how many people moved out of New York City in the last 3 years? 600,000. They're moving.
Yeah, they're moving. They've been moving from COVID.
You know how many people moved out of your state, California?
Oh, I know. No,
Under Newsom?
Yeah, no. People do move.
A
There's no
million.
doubt about that. People move in America, and you're right.
No, but they're not moving because they want a better view. They like to keep more of their money
yes,
that they
that's
earn.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Now, again, because I never want to be confused of, about using like a biased right-wing AI, LLM, or aggregator, I simply went to Google Gemini and put in a very simple question. Because it's really easy to get to the truth if you're willing to invest in it and compound the interest of the truth over time. This is a screenshot from my actual phone, correct, fellas? It's not a scam. Sent right over. Are people moving from New York and California to other states? I didn't even put red states. I just put other states to make it real simple. Google Gemini, yes, a significant number of people are moving from New York and California to other states, a trend driven by high housing costs, taxes, and a desire for a different lifestyle. They even point out the data that California and New York continue to lead the nation in outbound migration, with many residents, wow, look at this, I didn't even ask about the specific states, relocating to lower-cost, tax-friendly states like Texas, Florida, Tennessee, and Arizona. So weird. All you had to do was, look it up and stuff. On that thing in your pocket called a phone. It's actually a smartphone. You know why it's smart? Because it can actually do things like this with AI. It's so crazy. It's almost like you don't even need a brain. You can outsource your brain to the box. This is why it's going to get ridiculously expensive to be a Democrat in the future. This is also why I'm going to go a little out of order, guys. The AI China one next, because this is important. Listen to Brother Dan again. This is super important. All of the people panicking in the geopolitical global affairs department about China and AI, yes, I'm very concerned. I'm concerned with China and quantum and other things as well. China is basically running with their shoelaces tied together on AI. Why? Because as you saw with Google Gemini, clearly a left-wing outlet, even left-wing Gemini has to tell you the truth that people are leaving blue states because they suck. Because Google Gemini operates by an algorithm that, if it's going to work, has to use reason. It can't use political bias. They do, a lot of them. But to succeed and for people to come back, for the entire model to work, you can't tell it to not work. Hey, work, but just don't work when people ask you questions that can make Democrats look bad. Put up this article. This is an amazing article about how China can't have people tell the truth. Cameron Berg in the Wall Street Journal. This is worth your time. AI is bound to subvert communism. China seeks to control it, but the idea of freedom is baked into AI's training on all human knowledge. AI, they note here that China has all of these restrictions on AI because they're afraid it's going to, subvert state power and overthrow the socialist system. Why would AI do that, Josh? Because if you ask AI in China, does communism actually work? And it uses reason, it has no actual examples of success. This is why these places like California and New York that run on the same, neo-communist system that the Russians did, that the CCP does. There's no future in this. You can look this stuff up now. You can't tell the AI, use reason and logic, except when Democrats ask questions. The Democrats are trying with these left-wing AI aggregators the same thing China's doing. They're trying to reduce the inputs to get to an output that's as politically biased as the New York Times. There's no future in it, man. I'll give you another example. Say you were to go to AI and ask AI, like, hey, man, I heard Bernie Sanders talking about rich people paying their fair share. Did they pay their fair share? If the AI works and it's using reason, you'll get Wall Street Journal articles like this that work on actual data and inputs. Another piece yesterday, a tax day lesson for Cory Booker and Chris Van Hollen, two liberal Democrat senators. They note the notion that America's income tax is biased against the working class is a fantasy. According to official numbers from the IRS, this is called data, folks, on the left. The top 1% of income filers in 2022, last year they have a full bucket of data, 1 out of 100 people, the richest Americans, contributed 40.4% of the tax revenue. The top 10% paid 72%. The top quarter paid 87%. So you're telling me 1 out of 100 people in the United States pays 40% of the income tax load? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. 40%. Note on this chart, too, the share they paid is about 40%, but the share of the income they earned is about half than that, about 20%. So you may say, well, they earn 40% income. No, they don't. They don't. You're just full of shit. Trump screwed over the middle class with the tax cuts. They got hosed. Really? Rich people are paying more. You may say, well, what is the bottom half? In other words, 50% of America, income earners. What are they paying? I thought they were getting screwed over. The piece goes on. Notice the bottom half of filers, 76.9 million returns. They paid 3% of income tax revenue, and their average tax rate was 3.7%. And even that's an overstatement because it doesn't count refundable tax credits either. It's probably closer to 2%. Folks, I'm not knocking you. I want more money in your wallet. Let me be crystal clear on this. I am glad you bust your ass as a plumber, an electrician, police officers, federal agents, or military folks. I don't think you should be paying a boatload of taxes. I just don't like bullshit that these people who are super successful are somehow screwing you over. The average tax rate for the bottom 50% of filers is 3%, while the top 1% is paying 40% of the income taxes all by themselves. Put it in AI. Look at it yourself. You know what it's like living in this sea of bullshit all the time? You see why these people are so freaking angry? Now, here's the difference on this show. I'm going to give you both sides of the argument. You may say to yourself, and listen, it's okay. Well, I still don't think that's a fair share. I think the top 1% should pay all the taxes. You can have that opinion. It's stupid. You'd crush the economy, but you're allowed to have it. We're all free thinkers here. It's not an illegal opinion. One of the things I like to do on the show is give you both sides of an argument because I hate hysteria and I just hate bullshit. I promise you that. I'll try to deliver both sides of a debate when there are both sides. There is no both sides to an argument that people aren't leaving blue states for red states. There's no other side to that. The facts are one-sided. People are leaving. That's the facts. There's no other side. The other side is they're not. That's a lie. However, last week, I covered this story about this AI system, Claude's Mythos. And man, did this thing go crazy in the media. In sum, we covered last week that an industry panic is broken out over this AI system about to be released, Claude Mythos, where people are freaking out. This thing's going to end the world. It's going to hack everybody's emails. It's going to break into banks and everything like that. And I told you I was a little bit frightened by this, okay? However, a guy I respect who has some has a really good deep body of knowledge on AI is Chamath Palihapitiya. And he has the other side of this, that listen, this hype and hysteria may be more marketing. You're like, marketing, the end of the world. There are people with powerful AI who put this stuff out there so that other people start asking questions like, wow, if it's that powerful, I better grab it too. Here he is giving you the other side of the argument on Claude Mythos, saying, they've done this before. Like, I wouldn't really panic over it. I think it's only fair to get this out there too. Check this out.
Is it, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, or is this the real deal now?
I think it's mostly theater.
Okay.
In February of 2019, when Dario was still at OpenAI, they did the same thing with GPT-2. That was a 1.5 billion parameter model, which sounds like a total fart in the wind in 2026. But at that time, this 1.5 billion parameter model was supposed to be the end of days. And it was supposed to unleash this torrent of spam and misinformation. And that was the big bugaboo at the time. And at the end of it, it was a huge nothing burger. If you actually think that Mythos is capable of doing what it says it can do, two things are true. One is a very sophisticated hacker can probably do those things right now with Opus. And two, if these exploits are this easy to find, whether you use Opus or whether you use Mythos, the reality is you'd have to shut down the internet for about 5 years to patch them all. So when you see like a large multi-trillion-dollar GSIB bank, it's a bit of theater. Why? What do you think they can actually accomplish in 2 months? Do you actually think that if there's these vulnerabilities, it's all going to get fixed? Let's give them 6 months. Let's give them 9 months. But the reality is that capitalism moves forward, the funding needs moves forward, and the need for these guys to build adoption moves forward. And that's going to supersede what this is. So I do think that Sachs is right, that they have figured out a very clever go-to-market muscle here and a go-to-market motion that activates hyper-attention and hyper-usage. And so I give them tremendous credit.
I just want to put out both sides, folks. It's the fair thing to do. I'm still concerned. Given my last year of experience, I'm very concerned about, quantum and AI in general. But I think I never wanted this to be the panic show on anything. It's just, I hate when people do that. Rage and clickbaiting and doomerism and we're all going to die. They've said this about a lot of things. They said it about electricity. They said the whole world's going to burn down. Yeah, did some buildings burn down? Yeah, did the whole world burn down? It was a little dramatic. It's so dangerous. Everything's dangerous if you don't contain it, put guardrails on it. But I'm never going to get into this like we're all victims and nonsense stuff. That is exclusively the domain of the left. I saw this video yesterday. It's very important you understand the psychology of the left. And this clip by Konstantin Kisin absolutely nails it. Folks, I get this all the time. Why is the left, why are they so obsessed with the victim ideology and all this stuff? It sounds so down and gloomy. You can't do anything if you're black or Hispanic. The evil white male patriarchy has got its boot on your neck all the time. If you're a woman, you can't possibly advance in academia, which is like laughable if you follow the numbers. They are constantly pumping down people's throats this idea that they are victims. Why? It's very simple. Because they want to come in as the savior. We are protecting you from the evil fill in the blank. Republicans, conservatives, MAGA, Donald Trump. And when you make people victims, they see victimhood everywhere. It's super important in this clip. I am obsessed with psychology and sociology. Never talk about your education. However, that was my thing in college. I'm asking for a quick dispensation on that. But when you are taught that you are a victim because you're black, you're a woman, you're Asian or Muslim or whatever it is. It's not that it stops there. You see victimhood everywhere, everywhere. This is an amazing clip by Konstantin Kisin. To set it up, here's what he's talking about. They do this study where they send women into a job interview and they paint a scar on their face. And of course, every woman or the woman comes out, oh my gosh, she was staring at my scar. But some women, they went in, they told them they had painted on their face, but they did not. This is what you're going to see. This is the placebo effect, where you see, like, even though it's not there, there's a psychological effect. This David Sun notes, placebo effect is powerful. In a 2009 study, women who took testosterone behaved more fairly towards others in negotiations with less conflicts. However, women who believed they took testosterone but did not behaved more aggressively and unfairly. Folks, this is real. If you believe you are a victim, just like if you believe you took testosterone in the study or you believe you have a scar on your face, you will see it everywhere and act accordingly. And that's what the Democrats want. They want you to act like you need a savior, and that savior, coincidentally or not coincidentally, is always them. Check out this clip by Konstantin Kisin. This is really good.
But to come back to your point about grievances, my wife sent me this experiment literally a couple of days ago, where they did an experiment with a group of women, and they put scars on their faces, and they told these women that they're going into a job interview, and the purpose of the experiment is to find out whether people with facial disfigurements face discrimination. They showed them the scars in the mirror. The women saw themselves with these scars, and as they led them out of the room, they said, we're just going to touch it up a little bit. And as they touched it up, they removed the scarring completely. So the women went into the job interview thinking that they are scarred, but actually being their normal selves. And the result of the experiment is that those women then came back reporting massively increased level of discrimination. Indeed, many of them came back with comments that the interviewer had made that they felt were referencing their facial disfigurements. And this is why I think this ideology of victimhood is so dangerous, because if you preach to people constantly that we're all oppressed, that we're all being discriminated against at different levels, that because I'm an immigrant, I'm automatically disadvantaged, that because I have dark skin, I'm automatically disadvantaged, then that primes people to look for that.
Zelda Girl 01 in the chat. They tried the victim stuff on me early in my work life in government, but my parents didn't raise victims. I just smiled and said, watch me. I retired at a senior level and helped others along the way. No victim. God bless you, Zelda Girl 01. I feel the same way. The more you attack, I don't retreat. I don't claim victim status. I just go at it harder every single time. Done it for over 10 years. Or 10 years. You tell people they're a victim and they're weak, they are going to find their abuser quotes everywhere. The Democrats love that. They're going to be the ones to save you. That was Justin's video of the day. I think you may be a little early on that, especially with our dog. I know Jasmine's video of the day, even though she doesn't have one. She should. I haven't even got to that yet. All right, this is the Dan Bongino PSA public service announcement section. You know, I'm obsessed with health hacks. That's why we have a lot of advertisers that are health, because I use these products that are health companies or nutrition companies, because I use them. I'm 51. And what's the number one rule of the Dan Bongino show? Don't get dead. Don't get dead. I don't want to get dead. You shouldn't want to get dead either. So anything I can take to have me not get dead, I will take. Now, having said all of this, you okay? Oh, you got the Don't Get Dead shirt on today. I did not ask him to wear that today. I have the All-America. I did not ask. The Don't Get Dead, is that still, I don't even know if that one's still for sale. Is it? We got to bring that one back. Don't Get Dead. That was not planned, I swear to you. I didn't even look. Because the way he sits in the studio, you can't really see the shirt he's wearing. And he's like 47 feet tall, too. I'm going to tell you in advance, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. Seek your doctor's advice. But when I see really cool clips by people about supplements I take and use, I'm just going to put it out there. This is a clip by David Sinclair. He's a longevity specialist. He's talking about nattokinase. I take nattokinase. The effect is overstated here, but I think he just, but it was about 36%, not 95, according to the community note, but still pretty dramatic. I want you to listen to this and listen. I'm not your doctor. Ask your doctor for advice. I'm just saying, I take this stuff and I love it too. Check this out.
For cardiovascular disease, there's something that I've been taking for a couple of years now. And that actually has been shown in studies to reverse cardiovascular disease, removes plaque.
What is it?
It's called nattokinase.
Oh, yeah, I take nattokinase as well.
Great.
Yeah.
So maybe
I take it for, post-COVID on airplane flights, just reducing clotting potentially.
Oh, so that's the short term, but the long term benefit was there was a study with, I think, 1,086 people, a Chinese study, but it was very well powered. And they showed that up to 95% of plaque got removed in 1 year.
Wow.
Just by taking, but you need at least 12 units a day. They're called FU units, but not FU, but fibrillate units. So I've been doing that, and it's been so far great. I measure my carotid with ultrasound, and there's no plaque buildup there at all. So it's hard to reduce that, but I do take it as prevention.
Let me see where I am on nattokinase.
So nattokinase is an enzyme that digests fibrin, which is part
I'm on 100 milligrams.
Part of your plaque.
I'm on 100 milligrams of nattokinase. I don't know how many units that translates to.
Yeah. I would say if you don't want to take a lot of pills, at least 6,000 units would be a good start, and then work up from there. But of course, do this with the knowledge of your physician.
Yeah.
You don't want to do anything.
I haven't.
Yeah, seriously, because if you're on any kind of blood thinners or something, you could have massive complications. So don't just randomly throw things into your GI tract. Ask your doctor. I'm serious as a heart attack, no pun intended. But I swear by it. I love these little PSA clips. I also love timeline cleanses too. Folks, there was this clip yesterday about this hero police canine dog. I don't know if you saw it yesterday on X, but a whole dispute broke out later. Should the police have released the dog without doing some other things to this subject? There's this attacker there. He had, I think, stabbed someone, has a big, long stick, and was just threatening people. So they released the dog. I am not a canine handler. I am not going to get into criticisms of why the San Diego Police Department did or didn't release the dog. That's not what this segment's about. This segment's about, I just love freaking dogs. I had Lucy here yesterday. I think they're amazing. I love these dogs. I just want you to watch this, about 30 seconds. This dog's got like balls of steel. Just like goes in, the guy's hitting the dog with the stick and the dog is still going. I hope the dog is okay. But man, this is a good news timeline cleanse story. And I'm going to tell you, in the end, I've got some serious inside footage of an EEG study about what's going on in the dog's head while they're having a lot of fun and stuff. You're never going to believe this. It's coming up next. This is Jasmine's video today. But first, hero dog. This dog deserves a round of applause. Check this out. Good for you. Gosh, I love dogs. I wasn't even a dog person before Lucy, who made a guest appearance in the... Josh, you have that picture you took of Lucy yesterday? Is there any way to... Josh took a great picture of Lucy. He sent my wife loves it. Paula loves it. You know why I love dogs? Because even when you want to get mad at dogs, it's really hard to get mad at your own dog. Because if you have this exclusive study, and this is amazing, it was like some dog EEG, like shave the dog's head, put the things on, and you can translate into sound what's going on in a dog's head, even when they're doing bad stuff. This is what it actually sounds like. And this is why it's really hard to ever be mad at your dog, or for me, any dog for that matter. Here, check this out. Of course, that's not an EEG study. That is, however, Jasmine's favorite video of the day. And that is exactly what Lucy's little cerebral cortex sounds like as she's eating a pillow and throwing feathers all over the house, or whatever she's doing, chasing lizards. That's why it's impossible to get mad at dogs. Gosh, do I love dogs. I found that, I mentioned it yesterday. There it is. Josh is an excellent photographer. He has many skills, producer Josh, but he is a photographer too. Do you have a photography website? What is it? I can't even tell you who crashed this website. Seriously, like I gave out my Vacani Orthodontics, my friend's orthodontic website. One time we like crashed it the second he went in there. This is an actual photo from Josh's camera of Lucy in the studio yesterday with me in the background. Josh is very nimble to be able to get that low on the floor to take that picture. But there's a lovely Lucy who is singing that song in her head every single day. Folks, Mark Levin will be on the show tomorrow. Guest appearance by Mark. We do a couple guest segments a week. I hope you're enjoying them. I certainly like them. You can always check out Haley at noon at rumble.com/Haley. Vince every day at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, rumble.com/Vince. Vince has been crushing it lately. Really appreciate it. And do us a favor. Go to the App Store if you wouldn't mind. Download the Rumble app. It's free. Give us a follow, The Dan Bongino Show. Click that follow button. If you want to watch on the web, that's cool too. Rumble.com/Bongino. It is absolutely free. You get a notification every day. And please give us a follow on Apple and Spotify. I know it's just the audio version, but sometimes you like to listen in your car. The audio has kind of a different feel to it sometimes. We really appreciate that too. I will see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m.
I'm Haley Caradia,
host of Vince,
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report,
live 8 a.m. Eastern weekday mornings,
weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find podcasts. Thanks for watching.